region, about 150 kilometers from Bangalore. I continue to farm my large farm, and in addition to farming, over the past 40 years I have been farming. In addition to farming, I also do research. Indian Institute of Science Research Station has been located on my farm for the past 30 years. I've been leading it. I also do consulting. I have been the vice president of a herbal medicine company for 11 years. Along with that, recently I have my own 2 startups in the agriculture technology space. So I speak to you with this kind of background and experience. What I'm interested is, we want to maximize profits under uncertainty. And uncertainty is something which is an issue for all farmers in the world. There is price uncertainty, there is climate uncertainty, and there is uncertainty of every other input, whether it is labor, pest, and diseases. Okay. So my work is based on both research as well as experience. These are the research institutes I have collaborated with, and this is the experience. As you know, this is the rainfall contour map of India. The work that I describe with you applies to all regions of India, all agroecological regions. As long as it is tropics and subtropics, it works. So this square shows the work where the location where this work has been done. I thought I will just take you with a few pictures of what we have done. So if we are talking of profits, we just wanted to show you what has already been achieved. Please look at this slide. This was how the dry land was there in beginning. And in between, it became like this. This is without any irrigation. It became like this, intermediate stage. And finally, it ended up like this. So we are able to transform dry land at about 60 centimeters of rainfall per year into something like this. And this is the process that I want to talk about. And here is how we can make increased sustainable profits. If you can do it in dry lands, you can do it much, much better in irrigated lands. It is the same process, except it is easier and faster in irrigated lands. So this took 7 years to do it. I also want to show you how we were able to crunch the timeline into 2 years. Please look at these photos. This was the starting point of about the first example we have carried out in 3,500 acres in Karnataka. Here is, look at this starting point. This is about 80 acres near Hosur, near Bangalore. Again, 65 centimeters rainfall. And in 2 years, we were able to make it like this. This is high density agroforestry, crops in between rows of trees. And this is another shot. And this was the tree growth. And in between tree rows, we grow crops. So crops are grown like this. And then here is a close-up of the tree growth. And in 2 years, we were able to grow trees like this, multiple species. You will notice that it is not a single species, there are multiple species. There are trees, and if you notice in the middle, there are shrubs. So it is a multi-storied cropping that we do. I will come to that a little later in the talk. Also, see the multi-species as well as the growth of what is possible in 2 years without irrigation. So this is the kind of productivity we can generate per acre. As you would know, any agriculture will have crops, trees, and livestock. It should have all the three, not just one. Crops, you can think of high value crops as well as conventional crops. Trees as horticulture trees or timber trees. Now, each of them carries a risk, and these risks are different for different components. And these are the different kinds of risks and how they are distributed. Timber trees are really important because it has low production risk it has medium level benefit, and there is a ready available market for timber for the next 15 to 20 years. So they stand out as a choice. We can also have, depending on what the farmer wants, we can have other components as well, but it is good to have all the three components, crops, trees, as well as livestock. The exact species will depend and will vary on depending on the agroecological regions of India. So we would choose depending on what works for that context. So then how does one increase profit? I see three clear ways in which the profit can be increased in the agriculture. One is you increase productivity per acre, per year, you must grow more. That is. The other one is decrease production cost. Given the technology and the innovation that we have, there is a huge amount of production cost decrease that is possible. It is also the third one, which is perhaps most neglected, is we should increase the market price. We should get a better price for our produce by intervening in the value chain. I will try to give examples of each of these in the next few minutes that we have. Let me come to how do we increase productivity. This is the most important part, and also decrease cost. So I'm talking about 1 and 2, increase productivity as well as decrease production cost. So as I said, I will take the example of rain-fed farming, because if you can, rain-fed farming is much difficult compared to irrigated farming. If you can do in rain-fed farming, you can definitely do it in irrigated farming, like I said earlier. So how do we increase the profits in agriculture in rain-fed farm? There are certain process and principles to follow. I will touch upon them, and please ask me questions after the talk is over about any of the things that are not clear to you. First thing is, you must understand how much is the rainfall of your region. And this is the way we look at rainfall. The red line is the average, the upper limit is maximum possible, and the below is the minimum possible. This is 100-year data. I have looked at 100 years daily data to analyze rainfall. You must understand the variability of the rainfall. We have a software and a procedure of how to do it. I would be happy to share it for your region. Rainfall analysis. So you do rainfall analysis because the rainfall analysis, this is the variable crop yield. I don't want to go into this, but the rainfall variability translates into variability in crop yield. Now, what happens to the rainfall that you get in the region? You know, these are the 4 components of rainfall. Some of it is runoff, some of it is evaporation, transpiration, and also deep percolation. So this is what happens to the rainfall, what percentages and all is given in this. So what we aim to do is, we want to make runoff and evaporation as 0. Okay. So how we make it is what we would see further. So this is the intent. The design which you saw earlier is a multi-storied high density agroforestry is what we use. And we use very high species diversity as well as very high number of trees per acre. This is not done usually. We have an explanation and a reason why we use so much of trees per acre. Now, again, this is work already done. So please follow the pictures as I take you through. This is how the land will be, any agriculture land or a wasteland. These are the starting points that we can have in the rainfed system. So the first thing is to do soil and water conservation through this lock and spill bunds. And we do in many sizes. So at different intervals as required, closer, further away. And they have to be filled with biomass, the trenches. Biomass, we can grow it there, we can bring it. Any kind of biomass is okay. Even thorns are okay. So these biomass you should fill to these trenches. And once you do that, when it rains, it is filled with water. And even larger water bodies are also okay, not just trench cum bunds. And this is how the whole landscape looks like. It is after rain, not a liter of water should go out. Everything should get impounded in your structures. And now in these trench cum bunds, we plant the tree seedlings in a particular pattern that we have shown. Again, all of this, there is a standard technique to follow. How to planting technique is very, very well defined and clearly explained. So you have to follow the pattern. Different species in a zigzag way has to be planted along the trench cum bund. So this is how we plant. We use seeds, seedlings, cuttings, even cuttings are used. You can use any kind of planting material, but you will have to follow the design. The design is clearly explained. I will come to it a little later. Okay. We also have nursery raising techniques. How to raise nursery. It is important to raise our own nursery and not depend on nursery outside, because seedlings don't, because also of the cost factor. We also have techniques of raising nursery without bags. We have what is called as bare root seedling nursery, which is about 5% of the cost of the regular nursery. So it is important to use them. And once you do that, you plant the seedlings. You can plant any kind of seedlings at high density. Notice the density of planting. It has to be planted at high density. Here is how the trench cum bund looks after planting and about 1 year of growth. So this is again, less than 2 years of growth. This is how it looks like. This is 3 years of growth. You can notice timber trees as well as the non-timber trees in the middle. I'll come to that design later. And you will have to prune the trees to make them go straight. So active pruning is required. You can grow it in wasteland. You can also have animals during planting. Animals are an important part of our ecosystem. Farming ecosystem, you can't do away with animals. If you do all these things correctly, this is how after 3 to 6 years, the trench cum bund disappears and you will get an end point like this. You will see rows of trees and in between you will see crops. This is context specific, depending on the suitability of the soil and the climate and what the farmer wants. We choose the species required. Okay. And here is another end point, another result. Similarly, crops in between tree rows. And the tree rows look like this. This is a live hedge, which is important for any farmer. So this is again another trees as well as crop rows. Okay. Here is the live hedge along with timber trees. And this is how it looks like. Many such examples are there. But what is important is that we can design a system of high density agroforestry using this. I will come to this a little later in detail further. Now, what we wanted to say is, this is one part. We also evidence as to how will it work. Okay, what is the reason that it will work? We have done the nutrient analysis. We have done the soil water analysis. We have done the root growth analysis. All that data is available with us. So we would be happy to share if anybody is interested. But please, since I do not have time to go into all this, please believe that this is a special process when we do this. When we do this, I just wanted to take you through this. See, the biomass that is here, the biomass here starts supplying nutrients to the plants that are growing there. And this, under high density of planting, very high density of planting, the root system acts on the biomass. Here is the kind of high density of planting that we see. It starts acting on the biomass. If the decomposition takes place, the very process of decomposition releases a lot of nutrients which are locked in the soil. And it is this unlocking of the soil nutrients which are in the reserve pool, that is one that triggers very high growth that we talked about. And there is experimental proof to show all these things. I would skip all that. Here you can notice the high density of trees that we grow. Almost every 1 foot there is a tree on the buds. So this is what is responsible for release of nutrients. The water conservation structures are designed to take the maximum runoff depending on the rainfall. And so the water and the nutrients together, along with the tree roots, promote this kind of unusually high growth in between about maximum of 6 years. That is the time required to mature. Now, I want to come to the other part, that we have now a company called Hive Organics. Our interest is to scale up this process and make it available to any farmer or any degraded land that is interested to use this. It not only applies to degraded lands or rain-fed farms, I am repeating that it also works very well in irrigated farms. So what is it that we would be interested in the farm? So one part of increasing profit is to grow timber trees as well as crops as high density agroforestry. That is something which there is a procedure, a standard design how to do it. So we would be willing to work with you on how to do it. But there is another part which is equally critical. Okay. The next part is you will have to protect your water sources. Most of India is semi-arid with rainfall less than 150 centimeters. In these areas, borewells are the mainstay. So you will have to protect your borewells and also use water efficiently. So for that, we have designed a digital controller for the borewell. And here is the digital controller of the borewell, which can ensure it has a remote control. It also ensures that your borewell motor is never burnt. We are willing to give a guarantee for your motor as long as you follow the design. So this digital controller also works as an on-farm sensor. It is able to sense several parameters about the borewell and send it to you in a mobile app. Here is the mobile app. So please look at these numbers. Here is the water level in the borewell, which it monitors. As an innovation, we have been able to monitor the actual water level in the borewell in real time. This is critical for farmers because it will give you an alert as to when the borewell will dry up. In summers, there is a high risk of borewell drying up. It will also tell you how to use the optimal HP as well as the stages of the pump, and that can increase the borewell yield significantly. Using this data, you can also recharge borewells and see by recharging borewells directly through runoff, whether you get the benefit or not. Most of the farmers are reluctant to do direct recharge simply because they are not sure whether the benefit will come or not. Here, you can actually measure the benefit of recharge by monitoring the water levels. So the next one is, it will also give you the yield, how much yield you get per hour. What is the discharge from the borewell? That is possible. And this is an important, this is important to schedule water for different plots. We also wanted to tell you that the digital starter acts as a gateway to the cloud. It collects data from borewells in different farms, and we are able to get the data live streaming. If you see on the right hand side, from different locations in Karnataka, Andhra, Tamil Nadu, we are getting live streaming of the data. And to your left hand side is a mobile app that allows you to operate the borewell as well as get all the data required for you. So there is a mobile app which will be installed. And the middle chart shows you actual data that is flowing to us every 7 seconds. We have 25 installations which are actually sending us the data on borewell water level, yield, and various other parameters. Uh, the next important thing is, once the borewell water you get out, your borewell is optimized. We get alerts. We can also do direct recharge. The next thing is to take care that the water is efficiently utilized in the farmer's field. Now, most of the farmers have switched on to piped irrigation, either sprinkler or drip. Now, the issue with the drip irrigation is that you get power, at least in Karnataka, Andhra, and Tamil Nadu, at odd hours during the day. Sometimes it is in the night also. So there is nobody to turn on the walls, particularly during the night. And also, so we have designed remote control valves here, which is linked to the soil moisture. And you can see the remote control valve installations. They are able to direct the water flow to different plots of the land. If there is a coconut plot, if there is a tomato plot, if there is a maize plot, it can direct it to different plots depending on the soil moisture readings. You will also see the soil moisture sensor here. Depending on the soil moisture readings, it is able to, the valve either turns on or turns off and directs the water flow to different parts. There is a mobile app which controls all the water flow. So this is called IRRIBOT, which takes care of the entire drip irrigation management based on soil moisture. After all the irrigation is done, this IRRIBOT switches off the borewell motor. Here is the soil moisture probe. Soil moisture probe is able to measure the soil moisture at 3 different depths. It can be customized. It can be 15 centimeter, 30 centimeter, or 90 centimeter. 3 different depths you can customize, and that can be measured at different depths. And here is another important thing. Most all the practicing farmers know voltage is a serious issue for farmers. Under low voltage, most of the pumps either get burnt or the yield is so low. So we have a separate device called variable frequency dial. We call it Phase Magic. It is able to regulate voltage. Even when the line voltage is 150, it will boost it up to 350, 360. And this is not capacitor based. This is a different technology which is used in the industry. We use that. So if you use Phase Magic, it will resolve your low voltage problems. We are also, and most of the borewells, they have high yield in rainy season. The yield increases, but in the summer it decreases. So by varying the frequency of the current using this device, you can increase the capacity of the motor and decrease the capacity of the motor, whether it is rainy season or summer. By using this, you can also directly plug it into solar panels. It can use DC power. So if you want your borewells to run on solar power, this instrument, variable frequency dial, or what we call as Phase Magic, is directly useful. If you install this, you can directly plug solar panels to it. So it will be hybrid. Whenever the power is there, it will run on grid power. Otherwise, it will run on the solar panel. So this is another device that we have made for the farmers. We are also very interested in groundwater. In groundwater, using these instruments, this is how the data will come to you. On the left-hand side, you see the starter, and you have the data reporting. You have soil moisture sensor below, and this is how the soil moisture sensor data is reported. By using this, you can allocate very efficiently the available water to your farm plots. Our experience is it will be 50% more efficient if you use this. If your borewell is irrigating 10 acres, you can increase it up to 15 acres by using this efficient borewell monitoring as well as the drip irrigation distribution system. So this is the kind of value that we can get. And these critical technologies are very critical, are important to increase the farmer's income. Okay. We would not go into all this. And So to summarize, this is what I wanted to mention to you. You see, the key to farm profits is in the timber trees. Timber trees, if they are able to come to harvest in about 5 years, that is the most assured source of income. And along with timber trees, we also have other components in between the rows of timber trees or crops. Along with timber trees, we grow non-timber trees, which serve as the composting material. And using that composting material, the nutrients will be supplied. Okay, the ratio is something like this. If you have 20% is usually timber trees, 80% is non-timber trees, which are used to supply nutrients. And along with timber trees, we will also, it is possible to put horticulture trees as well. So it is forestry, horticulture, both these trees are possible to be distributed along the bund. As I said, there is a clear design how to do it and how to select the species. All of that is available with us. If you are interested, we can go deeper into all this. I have finished my 30 minutes. I would like to close my presentation here, and I would be very happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Seshagiri, for a very detailed presentation. Now, quickly, I'll take up some questions.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the first question is, based on what you have seen, do you find farmers are finding agriculture profitable?
Yes and no, both. You see, there are farmers who have gone to high value crops. They are definitely finding it profitable. Even if you lose in some crops, they are able to make it up in another season. But there are also farmers who are mostly rain-fed farmers, particularly in low rainfall areas, semi-arid areas with low water holding capacity. They are finding it unprofitable. They are leaving the lands fallow. If you come to these parts, 80% of the rain-fed farms are fallow. So that is already an indication that there is a problem of profitability in the farming for such farmers. Again, livestock farmers, when it comes to sheep and goat, they find it very profitable. Okay, so the answer varies from region to region and also varies whether you're a livestock farmer or you're growing only crops. So that would be my answer. I have found farmers who make a lot of profit also.
Okay, and I think your next question you have already answered. Still, I'll read out.
Please.
It's about your company and what does
Yep.
Hive Organics do and how do your services benefit farmers? Yep. And for how long it has been in existence?
Yeah. Hive, we are interested in what the title of my talk. We want to maximize profits, that I just want to say sustainable profits per acre per year. So that is what we want to do. The company has been registered in February 2022. So we are very young. We are a startup. But both me and my partner Ramesh have been working on this for decades. I have about 40 years of experience in farming and about 30 years of experience in research. So whatever we are showing to you is a result of these 30 to 40 years of work both I and our Ramesh have done in our own farms. And Ramesh comes from the background of industry and I come from the background of research. So it is this combination that we want to offer to the farmers. So what we are able to offer farmers is, first, we are able to increase profits by doing all the three things I talked about. We bring down the cost of production. For example, in red gram, the cost of production is about 25,000 per acre. We can make it 8,000 per acre. From 25,000, we will bring it down to 8,000. So that is the kind of reduction in cost we are talking about. We are also able to increase productivity. Red gram usually is about 700 kg. We are able to double it to 1,500 kg. So those are the kind of yield increases. Then again, we want to look at better market price. Okay, so how do we get better market price? By supply chain interventions, we are able to. So our major service to the farmers is one, increase in profit. The other intervention that we are very, very keen on is to give technology to the farmers. You see, that is why I wanted to project our work on looking at borewells, looking at drip irrigation. Now, all the farmers in India as well as throughout the world have huge labor shortages. We don't get labor to do the work on the farm. So you will have to go for automation. And these are automated solutions where it is hands-free, you don't have to do anything. Through your mobile app, you are able to control your borewell, also do the drip irrigation. Similarly, we are also working on small farm machines, which are driven by electric motors and not petrol engines. Most of the small farm machines, which are Chinese make, they all come to repair. It is difficult. The cost is also quite high, operational cost. So we are now switching over to the battery operated machines. So like this, in many of the pain points of farmers, since we ourselves are actually farmers, we are doing farming, we understand the pain points well, and we would like to intervene and support in these areas.
Okay. We have a question from one of our participants, Mr. Vishnu.
Please.
His question is as follows. In this system, what is the investment versus return per acre and time duration, annual versus long term?
Yeah. Thanks, Vishnu. It was a very appropriate question. You see, as I said, all this was done in 2004-05. So we have had a lot of experience in this. So if you are interested, we can actually show you what we have done, in a more detailed way, or we can take you for a visit. So please do come and see what is done. So now, here is a rough estimate. Per acre, so we look at a life cycle of 5 years. In 5 years, your timber tree should come to harvest. And that is where the major money is going to come. Okay. So in 5 years per acre, you will need a total of 1 lakh per acre. Is the total investment, everything, including everything. Now, what are the returns you get? If you are able to calculate every year, you will get a profit, not revenue, a profit of 1 lakh per acre per year if you follow our design. Please remember, it is critical to follow the design. We can assure you 1 lakh per acre per year as long as your rainfall is above 30 centimeters. Less than 30 centimeters, which is like Thar Desert, we have a problem. There we cannot assure. Okay. So this is the kind of, and after 5 years, this income will continue. It will only increase, not decrease. Okay.
Okay. And next question again from Mr. Vishnu. He is saying, why are you talking about Krishi Rudaya? Are you selling digital starters through Hive Organics? Very confusing, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Krishi Rudaya is just a brand name. Okay. And Hive Organics has a collaboration with Krishi Rudaya where we supply the required instruments require technology. So Krishi Hridaya is a technology partner for Hive Organics. Okay. And we were very interested to have a reliable technology supplier. And Krishi Hridaya, we find that is not only cost effective, it is also very reliable in the field. So we are working with them. So we do supply Krishi Hridaya in partnership. And we have found if the technology is not rugged, if it fails in the field, it is very difficult because there is nobody who will go to a remote farm and do servicing. So that is why we wanted a very reliable piece of technology which will work in remote areas.
Okay. Next question again from Mr. Vishnu. Share some specific details of the cropping pattern and species. Please be specific.
Yeah. Thank you, Vishnu. You see, now I talked about trees as well as crops together. And you have already seen between rows of trees, we will grow crops. So what we have used in one particular site is the following. Melia dubia, and we have Melina arborea, we have mahogany, and we have Rakta Chandana, okay, Pterocarpus santal. Now, these are 4 species that Terminalia arjuna is another one that we have used. Now, these are 6 species of timber trees that we use. You could recognize they have different maturity periods. 5 years, Melia dubia will come. Between 8 and 12 years, you will have Terminalia arjuna as well as Melina arborea, which is Shivne, Terminalia arjuna. So then again, Rakta Chandana or mahogany will come only after 15 years. Okay. So now you can see that timber trees are planted in a particular planting design with different maturity periods. Okay. And that is one. So these are within the bunds. In between bunds, there is a space of between 30 to 100 feet. The minimum is 130 feet. Less than 30 feet, we should not plant. 30 to 100 feet, we can grow crops. So here we had grown red gram, we had grown groundnut, we had also grown fodder crop like stylo. Okay, so these are the choices of crops. And I also mentioned in between the timber trees are planted at minimum 12 feet distance from each other. In between them, we also plant other tree species in a ratio of 20:80. Okay, 1:4. We plant the non-timber species. These are Gliricidia, Subabul, Sesbania, Agse. So Basavanapada. So we have many other species which are fodder species we plant. And all of that will go either as fodder or as manure. So we need to give about 40 tons per acre per year of biomass into the pits as compost. Either you give it directly as biomass or you give it through the manure route. But you need that kind of a biomass input for this system to flourish. So that is why the non-timber trees are extremely important and we plant them. So Vishnu, do you think this is specific enough? If you are very interested, please contact me. My contact details are there. We can go deeper than this.
Yeah, okay. We have the 2 questions again from Mr. Vishnu. He says, what's unique in Hive Organics? There are other technology partners in the market. What will Hive Organics do? And please share some more details of your company. So I think he has joined a bit late.
So we would do one-to-one, I think. You see, what is unique is we are able to give a total solution. Okay. See, we are able to give you a total solution. Once you come to us, we do the design, we do the planting, we do how to raise nursery, how to plant. Then we will also give you the technology required like starters or any other equipment that you need. So the idea is to provide one window where you will get everything required to increase profits. So that is the uniqueness of Hive Organics. And as I said, we are very competitive. Just to give you an example, if you buy one timber species seedlings, forest department gives you at 3 rupees. Commercially, it is minimum is 20 rupees for a 8 by 10 seedling. Okay, we can raise it at 75 paisa. We have techniques to reduce the cost to 75 paisa. So we also bring in our cost reduction technologies. Now we say you should plant up to 2,000 trees per acre. Just imagine, unless we are able to reduce the cost, it is impossible to plant 2,000 trees per acre, no, at the commercial rate. So that is how we have a unique offering where we, being farmers ourselves, understand the pain points, and we have developed technologies or tools to bring down the cost, but yet get the benefit. So that is the speciality of Hive Organics, total package, and we are cost effective.
Okay. So next question, I think he's too much confused. He says you are very confusing, sir. We don't want conceptual talk. Please share specifics. How can I, as a farmer, be profitable? So I think
You
better I
see,
will share.
Yeah. I think he has to come one and one. You see, there is no magic formula. I can't give you a mantra to earn profit. You will have to do the work required. All farmers know you have to do the work required, except that. That is why I told you are most welcome to come and visit the farm for yourself and see it. So please come and see it if you are more interested and serious. That's what I wanted to tell you.
Okay. So now we have the last question.
Yeah.
Okay. Please tell us a little about your. Okay, he's asking what is the mantra. Okay, anyhow, Mr. Vishnu, I have shared your I've shared Mr. Seshagiri's contact details now. You can make a note of it. And now the last question is, please tell us a little about your career background and what made you to take an interest in agriculture.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. You see, I come from a village called Channakeshwapura in Tumkur district. We are a very dry region. After Thar desert, we are the lowest rainfall in India. So we are a poor region, dry region. We are not rich like the irrigated regions. So I come from that region. I own a farm of 150 acres, which is ancestral. And from a young age, I wanted to do farming. I didn't want to leave my village. So I studied agriculture. I studied masters in agriculture in plant breeding and genetics. So that is my technical background. Later on with the Indian Institute of Science, I went to study ecology and environment. So I didn't want to leave my village. They gave me the research station in my farm. So for the past 30 years, I have been leading the research station of Indian Institute of Science on different areas of research: natural resource management, climate adaptation, crop simulation modeling, and also technology, use of sensors in farming, so which is completely electronics. I also do rainfall analysis of long-term data. So this has been my work with scientific this thing. I have a number of research papers. I have published a book. So this is my science. So somewhere while doing applied science, I also got into consulting. I'm a consultant and I consult both within India and outside. I've consulted corporate as well as universities. So one particular private company called Natural Remedies made me their vice president for 10 years. So I was in charge of the supply chain in Natural Remedies for 10 years. So I have corporate background. And then after leaving all that, for the past 2 years, I have come back to my farm. I'm doing farming to whatever I have shown you, I'm implementing it in my own 150 acres farm, plus few of my friends. And for this, I started the company Hive Organics. and another company is Krishi Hridaya. So I have two companies, Hive Organics and Krishi Hridaya. Krishi Hridaya looks at technology. Hive Organics looks at providing the services to the farmers. So this is my background and why I am interested.
Okay. Okay. Can you share your website link?
Yeah, I will send you. Just give me, I will post it to you, please.
You can post in here in Zoom.
Yeah, I'll post it in Zoom.
Yeah.
Just hold on. Yeah, we do not have a fully operational website. We are building it. Okay. So we have some preliminary information, but not too much is there in it. But anybody who is interested, we can send you information. We have information ready to be shared. So that is available. We are building the website as we speak. So there is just a preliminary website.
Acha. Okay, Mr. Vishnu, I have shared Mr. Seshagiri's contact details. You can make a note of it and you can directly reach out to him. And yeah, Mr. Vishnu, please contact Mr. Seshagiri directly for the website link and all. And other details about his organization. Okay. Okay, Mr. Seshagiri, I don't see any further questions from our participants. So now we have come to end of question round. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, I like to thank you for a detailed presentation and answering all the questions. And we also like to thank all the participants for joining this meeting. The meeting will now be closed.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.